Morning, everybody. So, welcome to today's session. So, what I'm going to talk about today is my hair's like going, isn't it? Is the practical side of ritual. Here's a book, Ratchita, and it's in Tree Ratner. It's the only book that's been produced, that's on ritual, and actually, I started to write a book on ritual back in 2003. It was about 6 years after I got ordained, and I never kind of finished it. I don't know. I moved on to talking about mindfulness, but in a way, it's various sort of issues that have not quite been addressed in the practical sense of Sangharakshita goes into the kind of the theoretical side of it, but in terms of things like, why do we, when we're chanting a mantra, why do we sort of try and keep to a particular form? And I know over the years people have gone into like harmonies on top of mantras and things, and I think sometimes it's just introduced an element of kind of chaos and, in a way, kind of like individualism into the whole thing, and sometimes a bit of performance. So ritual is not performance. So I'll go into that, what that means, and just share a few thoughts about all this side of things in the hope that it might be helpful. I think it is a kind of a dialogue we need to have a little bit more within Tree Ratner about ritual and how we do it. And I didn't sleep all that great last night, and so I hope I'm in good enough shape to do a decent session on it today. So it's quite important, really. My hair's really crazy, isn't it? All right, so we'll begin by doing a bit of body work and then a bit of meditation, and then onto the topic. So if you want to stand up, I'll do that. Seem to have some technical difficulties there. Sorry about that. I missed the body work. So moving into meditation. So settling into your posture. Just allow your body to just sit there. It knows how to sit down, doesn't need any help from your mind to do that. So we'll do a 15-minute period of mindful breathing in 2 stages. So in this first stage, just following the detail of the breath, sensation of the breath from moment to moment, and counting after the out breath. So breathe in, breathe out, count 1. Breathe in, breathe out, count 2, and so on until you get to 10. And then repeat the sequence. And the second stage, you just move the counting to just before the breath begins. So count 1, then breathe in, breathe out, count 2, until you get to 10. And then start again from 1. Okay, so today's topic is formality and etiquette, and the practical aspects of ritual and devotion. So just I showed this diagram before. So this is kind of my basic kind of model about how symbolism works or ritual works. So you have, the viewer here, and you're looking at a symbol here, but the symbol represents a certain reality, which is over here. So it's like we can't kind of take in too much reality. Going to Sangharakshita, it's like, so we need a kind of something to mediate. So it's like the symbol like mediates between the reality and ourselves, So it's like a kind of soft focus version of that reality. So a ritual is like a symbol, is an action. Ritual is an action. So in a way, a ritual is a symbolic action representing an action in the world. So when we practice devotion here, there's a figure from the Buddhist tradition in a practicing devotion. So that the hand gesture is called a mudra, and it's like a sort of a worshipping mudra. And as I said previous sessions, worship. The word worship just means worthship. It's like ascribing worth to something. So when we worship something, it's like we keep bringing our mind back to it. It might be a person, mightn't it? It might be somebody you fancy. You keep bringing your mind back and like you kind of contemplate the value of that person, or how you think that person is going to help you in your life, or how you think that religious icon, or kind of what that religious icon represents is going to help you in your life. So the ritual, going through some formality in relation to that religious icon is the symbol which helps you approach actually coming into contact with that icon, and in your life, your life coming more into relationship with that icon. And sometimes we do rituals that are to mark things. So I remember working in a vegetarian cafe underneath the Manchester Buddhist Centre, and we worked as a team. It was like a kind of team of Buddhists there. And when somebody joined or somebody left the team, then we'd hold a ritual to mark that change in the team. So I remember a friend of mine leaving, and we did a little kind of ritual in one of the shrine rooms, and as part of the ritual, we created a sort of sacred space, by meditating, and then so often what you do is you mark the beginning and end of a session with a bell. In a way, that bell is a sort of signal that a sacred space is being opened or is closing, or there's a new thing happening. If it's a meditation, it's like a new stage. So we need to kind of mark the boundaries between things. So we'd sort of all sit down in meditation posture and ring a bell, and then we'd do a puja, a puja like in call and response, like a devotional Buddhist ceremony, a short one usually, which is just saying, well, this is the context. The context is Buddhism. Is our belief in Buddhism is the context for this ritual. So this is the thing we think's most important, and then in relation to that set of values, this is the action that we, in a way, it's like, so when my friend, we'd had his ritual of leaving ritual, what he did was, like, in the context of the puja, he got up and left. We all carried on, he left. So that was the ritual action that was mirroring or standing for him leaving in reality, so here's him leaving in the ritual, and here's him leaving in reality. So and I think what ritualizing things does is it helps them go in, because we've marked something ritually. Yeah, in a way that's the point, is to help us realize something, rather than just carrying on as if everything's the same, So I think that formality. So part of the title of this talk today is formality. So I think there's a real point to formality. Since the 60s and onwards, we've had a lot of emphasis on freedom of expression and informality, really. But we're living in probably a very different age now. Things are changing, and and maybe we need a bit more formality again in things. So why formality? What's the point of formality? Well, when in the old days, you go back in Britain in the 1950s, and you'd have people walking around the city of London in black suits and bowler hats, or go back further, there'd be like top hats or something in Victorian era, and people would be quite formal in the way that they greeted each other, and they'd kind of they'd doff the hat like that, and offer the hand, So what is a handshake? Well, a handshake is a ritual, isn't it? It's like we're doing there's no practical benefit to this. What we're doing is a ritual. So the ritual is like saying, I am in a relationship with you, or I'm coming into, I want to be in a relationship with you, and I'm going to do my best to be straightforward and whatever, and meet your needs really in this relationship. So I think sitting behind all ritual is metta, is loving kindness. It's like, it's a kind of a all formality in a way. It's like it's giving something space. And what it's giving space is the more important things, So what's the most or more important things it's that, we look after each other, and we're honest with each other, and we support each other's lives and stuff, that sort of thing. So you could see a handshake as that, it's like a symbolic representation of acknowledging that I'm coming into contact with another human being, and that I'm going to try and do my best with this human being. So when we think about a kind of form, or like etiquette, for instance, so etiquette, shrine room etiquette, so at the Manchester Buddhist Centre a few years ago, we kind of re-established a bit of a shrine room etiquette, which was like, to sort of just, we've got 2 shrine rooms on the first floor, and just to be quiet on that floor, or to not start talking until you've left that floor, when you're coming out of the shrine rooms. And it's just a way of kind of protecting the activities, the kind of meditative or like sacred activities that are going on in that space, so if people just all start jabbering away immediately, it just breaks into that sacred space. So in the here's a book of the Sevenfold Puja book, the old version. So when say people from the Buddhist Center go on a retreat, say a weekend retreat or something, often to somewhere in the Peak District, what happens at the beginning, at the first time that we're in the shrine room, the meditation space, is we do the dedication ceremony. So what that does, it's dedicating the space to it's like marking the boundary, at the beginning, that okay, from now onwards we're going to be doing something specific, which is this retreat where we're going to be trying to bring certain sort of communal but also individual qualities into being, so in the dedication ceremony, you say in call and so the one person leads, and in call and response you say, we dedicate this place to the three jewels, to the Buddha, the ideal of enlightenment to which we aspire, to the Dharma, the path of the teaching which we follow, to the Sangha, the spiritual fellowship with one another which we enjoy. So the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, the three jewels, the three most important things in Buddhism. And then it says, here may no idle word be spoken. Okay, so you've got some sort of, so what you're doing here is you ritually saying something that you want to actually then happen in reality. So we just kind of keep this space, this retreat, this shrine room sort of free from idle chatter sort of thing. Not just for for discipline itself or something, but in order for other things to happen that are on a bit of a higher level. Here may no unquiet thought disturb our minds. Same sort of thing. To the observance of the 5 precepts, we dedicate this place. To the practice of meditation, we dedicate this place. To the development of wisdom, we dedicate this place. To the attainment of enlightenment, we dedicate this place. So here we've got verses that are saying, in a ceremony, what we want to happen in reality. That we're actually making progress with our ethics, with our meditation, with our wisdom, with our progress towards enlightenment. And then there's more kind of just like reflection on the difference between the mental states that people might have outside in the world and those that we're wanting to kind of be bringing to be more inside the community. So though in the world outside there is strife, here may there be peace. Though in the world outside there is hate, here may there be love. Though in the world outside there is grief, here may there be joy. Not by the chanting of the sacred scriptures, not by the sprinkling of holy water, but by our own efforts towards enlightenment, we dedicate this place. So it's not about, it's about actually embodiment of something, which we're embodying. We dedicate a space by the actual effort that we're making in it, to become more ethical, more meditative, more wise, and more enlightened. then the dedication ceremony continues around this mandala. So I talked about mandalas before, didn't I? So arrangement. So a mandala is like a kind of spatial arrangement of things with what the thing that's most important in the middle. So a mandala on a retreat would be the group of people with the Buddha at the center, you know. Around this mandala, this sacred spot, may the lotus petals of purity open. So, you know, so what we're looking for is a kind of some sort of unfoldment of people's potential. And the image of a lotus is like an important one in Buddhism. It's like if the conditions are right, then the lotus will open, and a jewel will be revealed within it. So the jewel in the lotus is symbol of associated with Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. So a lotus, you know, may the lotus petals of purity open. Around this mandala, and purity is about ethics. It's about having sort of stronger and stronger ethical mental states that lead to happiness for yourself and others. Around this mandala, this sacred spot, may the Vajra wall of determination extend. So sometimes people have done rituals to kind of, I think we did it in the Manchester Buddhist Centre when we consecrated the shrine rooms. We made little well, on bits of paper, a card or whatever, you know, we did little lotus flowers and we did little Vajras. So Vajra is a symbol of reality and no nonsense in a way, you know, kind of bit firmness and determination. So we put like little Vajras around the shrine room walls. And around this mandala, this sacred spot, may the flames that transmute samsara into nirvana arise. So again, we put like little flames going round. So it's just a way of marking that this is a place where we want something different to be happening. You know, specifically, you know, higher, Buddhist values coming in rather than other things. Around this mandala, this sacred spot, may the flames that transmute samsara into nirvana arise. So there's a kind of boundary there to the sacred space, which has flame of transformation. So if you come into this space, you need to expect to be transformed, you know. In a way, coming into the space is requires some determination and in a way discipline to keep sort of unskillfulness out, and it requires a kind of a sort of purity of mental states. Here seated, here practicing, may our mind become Buddha, may our thought become Dharma, may our communication with one another be Sangha. For the happiness of all beings, for the benefit of all beings, with body, speech and mind, we dedicate this place. So the reason we're doing it all is that all of this is for this aim, the Bodhisattva ideal, you know, that we help all beings to become happier, you know, gain benefit, effectively to be able to cope with everything in life and become enlightened. That's what the Bodhisattva ideal is aiming at, sort of drawing all beings upwards into. So I'm just going to read a bit from this book, Ritual and Devotion, an Introduction. In Buddhism, an Introduction. from Sangharakshita. He says, given that the puja is essentially an expression of the devotion of the whole community, it is almost part of the definition of puja that everybody present on a particular occasion should join in. If there are new people present who do not want to join in, then of course they need not do so. So yeah, everybody needs to be free to choose really what they do or don't do. But those who consider themselves Buddhist definitely should take part, otherwise a division within the spiritual community is created between those who are participating and those who are not. Okay, so this idea of participation in ritual and the fact that ritual is not a performance. So I remember like being involved in Buddhafield festival back in the early 2000s, and for 3 years I was on the ritual team. So we put on the rituals for the festival, you know, for hundreds of people. Opening ceremony, closing ceremony, Saturday night, big ritual, that sort of thing. So you know, it was all done in a field with you know, because whatever we could lay our hands on things. And so one of the things that so in a way, like a ritual is a kind of ordeal. So it's like, you know, when you have like a rite of passage, you know, so you know, it's not really done so much these days, but you know, traditional societies and cultures would have rites of passages, you know, so somebody would be kind of, you know, the transition from being kind of a you know, young, like a boy, to be a man would be marked by some ritual that maybe the elders of the tribe, you know, might kind of engage in. And so they have to go through, you know, the young guy have to go through some sort of ritual, some sort of ordeal that involves some sort of challenge, and then would come through the other side, and then would be admitted to the adult male community, sort of thing. So in a way that the ritual being an ordeal is like marking the fact that life is an ordeal, or you know. So come back to this again. So you know, your ritual is an ordeal here, you know, so you put through something, and what the reality that this is helping us move towards is the fact that, you know, life is an ordeal, and there's going to be challenges in this, you know, being a man, you know, in the male world and all that sort of thing, you know. So yeah, so it's like I remember, you know, we were going to do this one ritual where we had some sort of well, it was a bit of a dramatization of Padmasambhava and other figures. And then the crowd, then we were going to take the crowd down to this shrine, which was in the middle of the field that a guy from Brighton had made. It's like an earth type shrine. And I thought, well, where's the ordeal in this? It's like, it's just people watching one thing and then coming to a shrine and doing something there. So I suggested that we took people on a bit of a journey, because on previous occasions we'd done that, you know, and where they don't really know what's going to happen, you know. So we took sort of hundreds of people on this journey. It's at night, you know, on Saturday night, and it was kind of chaotic, you know. but people kind of went through something, you know. There's all sorts of things that we staged within it to give them a sort of a experience of, a bit like going through a ghost train or something like that, you know. But the idea is that they actually go through something and then come out the other side, and then you come into contact with the shrine. And what we had that year was we had these big lotus petals that we'd made that were like 15 foot high, and so we had kind of dancers in the middle, and these things just gradually opened like that. This is all at night lit up, you know. So yeah, so having gone through the ordeal, then you come out, and then there's some sort of, as you often get at the end of a sort of Shakespeare play, you get a kind of a reconciliation or something, or you know, things turn out all right in the end, you know. So the idea that you go through an ordeal and things turn out all right in the end. Yeah, so I mean, on another occasion, you know, I did 3 ritual teams in a row in the early 2000s, and then I was involved in other teams and stuff, and then I came back and was involved in a ritual team again, maybe about 2009 or something. And that year, it all felt a bit more like a performance, you know, and people clapped on the Saturday night ritual, and my friend Loka Banda says that wasn't a ritual; they were clapping, you know. So it's like, so what is? How can we think about this, you know? So it's like, you know, if you're clapping, you know, and if people are performing, then it's like it's entertainment, isn't it? You know, so it's like when it's entertainment, it's not as if it's not as if there's a. It's almost like a kind of a. It's just part of the same old thing, you know, in the world, you know. We're looking for entertainment. We're looking for stimulation and a bit of something to titillate us, you know. Whereas a ritual is bringing us into contact with a reality, you know, that's beyond all of that, you know. That, you know, like Buddhism, or, you know, the Buddha, or the state of enlightenment, you know, or the community of Buddhists, you know. So it's like we're trying to come into contact with something that we're evoking, that's sacred, that's bigger than that normal way of being, you know. So the response wouldn't be to clap; it would be slightly awe, or having some sort of sense of awe, or kind of wonder, or you know, kind of openness to something different, happening. In our lives, and being affected by it on a deep level, and maybe sometimes fears and things come up when, you know, we're coming into contact with things that are a bit higher. You know, they talk about the terrible beauty. It's like Yeats or something. Terrible beauty, you know. So, yeah. Yeah. So maybe expect that if you're doing some sort of ritual or devotion, that that things like fear comes up. It is a bit of an ordeal in a sense, that way, you know. So, for instance, you know, when Sangharakshita talks there about the community of Buddhists, and everyone should join in and stuff. So, you know, when you do a puja, you know, you can do a puja on your own, you know, but most of the time people will do a puja as part of a group, and you know, when you do a puja, then, well, in a way, that like the reality that you're approaching is like, I'm in relationship with this group of people, you know. like, this is my tribe, and I need to be contributing towards this tribe in a positive way. It's not just a random group of people that are coming together. We're all trying to do something a bit higher. So doing a puja together is like it's us coming into relationships, symbolically coming into relationship with a group of people, but that's reflecting the fact that this is what we're actually doing in real life, and we need to sort of take that seriously. So what can happen is, like, all our relations, all the stuff that is there in our relationship with these people kind of comes out, so it's like the way that different people do things differently, and some people, when I ring a bell, I'm leading meditation, I like to give it a lot of space for people to kind of settling in, give everything lots of space. And I've noticed some people don't do that, they want to kind of rush through it, and I think, hang on, what are you doing here? So it's like the way that we do a puja together, or anything, any kind of ritual type thing, the way that we respect or don't respect the shrine or the space itself, is like a ritual action that's saying these are our values, and if people are doing things differently, then maybe that is saying something about the community, that it's not in as much harmony as it might be, if some people are doing things, like in a particular way, and others are doing things another way. So, I think one. I remember when I first got involved, when we chanted the Avalokiteshvara mantra. It was it was a bit slightly not exactly dull, but it was kind of, Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. So that was like back in 1990, something like that. And since then, people have kind of got into doing things like harmonies on top, or different tunes and things. So, yeah, one of the points I wanted to make in this session was that about tradition and experimentation, that there's a point to tradition, really. So it's like, if you have a symbol, and it's, so say, for instance, what's an example? Well, years ago, BP is a petrol company in Britain, and there's an article that said that BP had spent like £50 million changing its logo on all its petrol stations in the UK, and all they've done is they've just shifted, just made it lean over slightly, because maybe the people in the advertising agency thought it would make them seem more dynamic, so you can get these like shifts in the image of something, what the symbol of something, but if you kept changing things all the time, what happens with symbolism is that you get used to it on a subconscious level. You get used to things being a certain way, and that then becomes what you like, so when you hear that thing, if it's a mantra, you hear it a particular way, then it brings to mind all the associations that you have with it, so it brings to mind the Avalokiteshvara mantra, brings to mind all your associations that you have with Avalokiteshvara, with compassion and things. And then, you get used to that. You get used to hearing particular verses, and it's not like you have to think about it. It's just there. Now, if you then change the wording or something, and then you've really been used to hearing things in a particular way, and the wording is different, then it's jarring, it jars you, it jars you, And what we're looking for often in meditation and ritual is like not being jarred. We're looking for depth, we're looking to go deeper into a reflection on a particular quality or something like that. So it's like everything that's jarring is bringing us out of that, So if you have a kind of endless, let's do the mantra in this way, let's do the mantra in that way, let's put some harmonies on the top, so what's happened a lot is that you used to have people, it was always done in the same way, a mantra, or and then you had more experimentation coming in, and I think experimentation is fine so long as everybody knows what they're doing, as long as it's clear that this is what we're doing, but if people kind of go off on retreat and then they play around with doing different mantras, and then they come back and they start harmonizing on top of those mantras, which I think is a thing that quite often women involved in the movement like doing that. So you come back, you've been doing that, and then you come back and then you want to do that in the shrine room, but in your local centre, but it kind of isn't what's going on, so we need to be all doing the same thing at the same time, So what Sangharakshita says in his Ritual and Devotion book is the verses of the puja are recited in call and response, which means that somebody present leads the puja. The person who does this should be whoever has the greatest depth of experience in the spiritual life. The leader shows the way, in a sense, and therefore the person who takes this role should be the one who's going for refuge is the most effective. This gives greater depth to the proceedings. When the leader says, "To the Buddha for refuge I go," this statement will mean something different from what it means when the less experienced of those present say it. But they can be conscious of the leader going for refuge in a deeper sense than they are, yet able to do, and may aspire to go for refuge in that deeper way. The point is that if you lead a puja, you don't officiate, you don't guide, you don't stand to one side and lead people. You don't stand to one side and lead people through their devotions, nor are you the leader in any fixed sense. You're simply doing the puja yourself, and others are simply following your lead. So I remember Sona ordained me back in 1997. He's an older member, ordained in the 70s, and I remember him saying that you just need to have like everybody following what the leader's doing, So so if you're leading a puja, then you need to specify things like, we're not going to have any harmonies on top of the mantra, or we are going to have them, or So in a way, it's you're kind of in control of what happens, and need to kind of like take responsibility for that. So it if what happens is a bit of a free for all, and I think what coming back to this again, I think what if it's a bit of a free for all in the puja, what this is symbolizing is over here is that we're all. It's like it's like the worldview of like individualism, and freedom of choice and all that sort of thing. There aren't any higher values. There's just like different understandings or whatever. So when we're doing some sort of, if somebody's in a puja and they're doing what feels a bit like a performance, they're doing some exotic harmonies on top of everything, but it's not really kind of like, it doesn't actually feel aesthetically harmonious with what's going on, then it's almost like it is symbolically representing a sort of individualism, rather than what we're working towards is a harmony, is a communal harmony, So it's fine for people. So in a way, what we're looking for is like people to be themselves on the one hand, but also to be conscious of others, so that they're coming into harmonious relationship with others, So it's not like we're squashing freedom. It's more that we're trying to have a sense of individual freedom, but then having a sense of collective responsibility as well, or collective endeavor, so that we are doing this together and not, we are doing it. And so we need to be taking our lead from the person who is leading it. Maybe that needs to be emphasized a bit more, that the person leading is actually is actually the leader, and they're setting the scene, and what happens is their responsibility in a way. But as Sangharakshita says, it has to come from, in a way, you're not the leader in the sense that you're doing it, but you're doing it through your own connection with Buddhism, with what Buddhism is, and how it should be expressed. So that's what's coming. That's what's leading, really, is your spiritual kind of sensitivity to what needs to happen here. Not like some idea. Maybe that's it. It's the difference between some sort of embodiment and spiritual connection with an ideal versus basically ideas. We should do it this way, we should do it that way. So I remember, my friend Paramonda always saying on retreats, just listen, when you're doing a mantra, main thing is just make sure you're listening to the other people, so that it's, there will then be some sort of there'll be a sense of harmony to things, and sometimes on Buddha field retreats he's led like cloud mantras, where you just come in with the mantra as like a bit of a sound bath, and but to do that you've got to be listening. You've got to be listening to the whole, what's happening with everybody else. And what else can I say about etiquette, formality? Yeah, I mean, obviously, like everything, there's a middle way, So, maybe, you can have too much formality. But I suppose, like, if formality only becomes too much if the reason why you're doing it is lost, the spirit is lost or something, and you just end up with the empty shell of the form of something. But if you remember that, coming back to that idea of the handshake, the point behind that is like this. It's a recognition of the spirit of like cooperation, and I'm going to try and be a part of your life and help make it a better thing, and you're going to do the same with me, and this is what we're kind of shaking our hands about, then that it's infused with meaning again. Then it's not just a dry thing that you're doing it because you feel like you have to do it or something. So if we can all kind of understand better what the what the puja is actually symbolizing, and then we're going to want to sort of be more doing it in a more harmonious way. We're going to be following the person leading it, and understand that that is the best way. They're probably the best person to. Somebody's got to decide what we're doing. Let's put our trust in this experienced person, and let's be kind of humble about the whole thing, and have a learning attitude rather than one where we're sort of doing some sort of performance or kind of virtuoso harmony performance or something like that. That's it. I think that's it. I wanted to look up the word etiquette, but I've not had time. So yeah, look it up yourself. See what it says. Okay. All right then. That's it for today. Thanks everybody. Bye.